I've been asked to take a look at problem 8.1 and try to explain how to use Excel to do the work. Now, I've had some time to think about this, and Misty Asbury and I had gone through it, and I'm going to use a different approach than I even used with you, Misty. So if you just want to kind of watch what's going on. Now, the first thing I would do is I would create or open an Excel spreadsheet like I have right here, and then I would look through the entire list or the entire problem and say, okay, well, what is it that I need to change? Well, I need I need at least problem A, B, C, and D. So I need at least three measures of output. One for each part of the problem. Now notice I left a blank over here because I'm going to put the product's own price over here. And I'm going to do that so that I can get all of the pictures into one picture. And Excel wants to have whatever's on the horizontal axis input just once, which is why I'm going to put price on the horizontal axis. And we've been asked to vary the price, and the problem itself tells us how to vary it. It says start out at $10 and then increase that by $5 each time until you reach $80. Oops, gotta catch that. Almost there. Okay, now let's see what else it's going to ask us. We have a variable for income in part A, and then it's going to ask us to use income again in part B. It's going to ask us to raise it. And then income is going to be the same as in A for part C and D. Okay. All right, now I've got a price. Let me get what the M stands for. Price for a movie, average price for a movie in part A. And then it's going to have me change the average price for a movie in part D. And then finally, a price for a controller, that would be the P sub C. I have one for part A, and I'm going to change that in part, let me find it, in part C. Okay. Well, I think I've got a listing of everything I'm going to need, and I know it looks like a mess, but let me leave these A's and the B's so that I can, for example, in parts A, C, and D, income is going to be 100. But in part B, it wants us to raise it to 120. Okay. In part A, the price of a movie is going to be given as $30. But in part D, it says, well, let's increase it to $40. And the price of a controller in part A is going to start out at $30. And we're going to change it one time in part C. Oh, I guess in part D. Sorry, let me go back. C, D, which means that the price piece of M is what's changing in C. Just some way to keep track of everything. Okay. So let's put the demand function in for the first time. In part A, the demand function is equal to 130 minus 4 times the price of the good. Okay. So notice that minus sign reflects the law of demand, which says that as price goes up, output will go down. So they're going to be inversely related. Next step, plus 2 times income from part A. Now I want to do that into an absolute reference. Now also notice the plus sign. The plus sign tells me what kind of good. So in relation to income, a good can either be normal or inferior. A plus sign means it's normal. A minus sign means it's inferior. So apparently this good we're looking at is a normal good. Next step, plus 3 times price of a movie in part A. Again, let's go back. Oh, I need to make that an absolute reference. Let's go back and say, okay, well, wait a minute. In 3, sorry, the plus sign in front of this one, when I'm looking at the prices of related goods in a demand function, there's only 2 types of relationships. Either they're substitutes or they're complements. If the price changing for a product leads to the quantity demanded increasing for my product, well, then the 2 goods are substitutes. So apparently, a movie or entertainment is a substitute for this particular good. Finally, let's put the last term in, minus 2 times price of a controller. Okay. Once again, focus on that negative sign on the front of the 2. If the price of a controller rises and it makes the demand for my product drop, then these 2 goods are going to be complements to each other. Okay. So for part A, I have now entered the demand function. I kind of want to, because I can copy later, let me work on this absolute reference to price. I never want to leave column A. So I'm going to make sure to get that dollar sign just in front of the A. Okay, so here we go. 320 units are demanded at a price of 10. And then we just copy down. If you're wondering how I did that, I went till I had that crosshair and then I double left clicked and it copied until it saw an end to its left. So at a price of $40, quantity demanded is 200. Okay, let's look over at what B asks us to do. B asks us to change the income. So let me do this. I'm just going to copy. Then right here in cell C2, I'm going to push F2. And notice that I am pointing to income, the income level in cell F2. Well, I don't want that. I want the income level to be what's in G2. So I grab it and I move it. So now G2 is there instead of F2. Okay. My income increases and the quantity demanded of this good also increases. By how much? Well, by 40 units each time. Okay. I'm going to copy this again for part C. Part C says return income back to its level in A, but this time let's have the price of a movie go up from $30 to 40. So I'm going to move it so that now I am in column I instead of in column H. And notice that compared to where we started, the demand has increased. Let me run that all the way down. By how much did it increase? Well, $30 at each level. So this was a parallel shift. That was convenient, but that's the convenience you get when you're working with lines. For part D, let me do one more. Okay, part D, pushing F2 to see where it's sending me. Part D is concerned with this price of a controller. Well, it wants us to change the price of a controller from 30 to 40. So I'm going to move from cell J2 to K2, but everything else is back to its original level. Notice that, well, let me copy. Notice that because the price of a complement rose, the quantity demanded declined. Now, we are asked to draw some pictures. So in part A it says, use the charting tool to draw the demand. So let's go in here. Here's part A. Put that in the convenient spot. Notice that it reflects the law of demand, which means there's an inverse relationship between these 2 variables. Which 2 variables are we looking at? Well, it'd be kind of nice to make that explicit. This axis is price. This axis is quantity. Usually I spell quantity with a Q. And so here is part A's picture. Part B says, well, let's plot the old demand curve along with the new one. So I'm going to insert, and here's part B. Let's choose a different layout. Let's make it so that it has axis titles. This is price. This is quantity. And the title, let's see, I'll make it part B, increase in income. All else equal. All else equal says I didn't change anything but income, that's it. I will let you finish the other two parts, but hopefully you find this helpful and you can see how to draw these demand curves in Excel. Thank you.